Now, in my book, the following way I explain the next prophecy we're waiting for is Revelation 17, verse 12, the rise of the 10 kings with Pope Francis. And in it, I explain that this is the very prophecy that we're waiting for, where we're trying to see the 10 kings receive power and authority with Pope Francis. So all the 10 monarchs need to come together, receive power and authority with Pope Francis, then they give it to Pope Francis. Funny enough, over the Thanksgiving holidays, we see that the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, met with Pope Francis, and the topic they wanted to discuss was pleas for peace in Israel and in Ukraine. So ultimately, what we're finding here is that this is all one domino leading to the prophecy of Revelation 17, verse 12, the rise of the 10 kings with Pope Francis. And now, if we see the Prime Minister, the Deputy PM of UK, then we're waiting for the Netherlands, Spain, Denmark, and so on, all to facilitate the prophecy that I said we need to be watching for. The same thing I mentioned in my book that I've been saying for 10 years. And that's the thing I try to reinforce and emphasize in my book, The Falling Away, is that we need to look for and anticipate the rise of the 10 kings with Pope Francis. He's the key to all of this. So that's what I want to make sure that I convey, and I try to illustrate that you see here, even in this graphic, because understanding that this is the verse that we're waiting to happen next. We don't know the exact way, the exact events to trigger it, but we can watch like Jesus tells us to watch, where we're going to see these 10 kings receive power and authority with Pope Francis. And with the Deputy Prime Minister of UK meeting Pope Francis, this could be one of those first dominoes that triggers other events and sets other events in motion. Now, if the Denmark royals and then the Netherlands and Sweden and all the 10 monarchs start to congregate around Pope Francis, we know we're on the right track. But I honestly believe that President Trump is going to play a role with that, as he's always America first. And if America pulls out of world powers or world affairs, there'll be the rise of the 10 kings there. And that's the urgency of what's happening right now. At least I'm trying as a watchman to blow the horn and get everyone aware of the signs of the times. Like Jesus says, you could discern the weather, but you can't discern the signs of the time. Hypocrites, right? But in my book, The Falling Away, the whole point is to address that this is the prophecy we're waiting for. The 10 kings receive power and authority with Pope Francis. And now with the Deputy PM of UK, we could see Denmark, Netherlands, Sweden, Spain do the same thing. As it says here, Pope Francis shows great leadership in addressing global issues of our time and building bridges among faiths. So all we're waiting for now is for this power vacuum where America will pull out of global affairs and the world will call for someone to step in, giving rise to what? The 10 kings with Pope Francis. And then they give power and authority to Pope Francis, and he hands it off to the Antichrist, Prince Hassan bin Talal of Jordan. So that's what I'm discerning.